Are we live on the YouTubes? Let's make sure. Let's make sure we're live on the YouTube. All right. All right, all right, all right. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I got a story to tell you guys, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm keeping an eye on VIVS right now. Keeping an eye on VIVS, which ran up a nice 295% high right there. Had a nice 295% high going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Just getting everything all set up here. Give me 1 second. But I got a story to tell you guys. Woo! Good story. Good story. Happened yesterday. Happened yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, for Taco Tuesday. It's a good Taco Tuesday story. So it's a feel-good Taco Tuesday story. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right. 1 second. 1 second. All right. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. There we go. All right. There we are. We are live. We are live. Yes. Good. 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 Good, good. Marty says, good morning, Banger Nation. Good morning, and good morning, Doubles. Good morning, Marty. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a fantastic day. All right. Hope you're making lots of money on this fine, beautiful day. All right. There we are. Let's make sure we're live on Facebook and all that. But yes, VivoSim Labs right there. VivoSim Labs. That is the name of this stock right there, and it is trading higher after the company announced a $5 million milestone payment from Eli Lilly. Also, the company announced that it anticipates a 500% revenue growth by the fiscal year 2027 right there. All right. All right, all right, all right. Oof. All right. There we go. There we go. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. Make sure this is up. Good. Beautiful. But yes, they received a $5 million milestone payment from Eli Lilly. Also, the company did announce that it anticipates a 500% revenue growth by fiscal year 2027 right there. Legal, good morning. He says, good morning, Double Nicks. Good morning, Legal. Hope you're having a great day, brother. Hope you're making lots of money. Hope you're making lots of money, 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 money. Money, money. Yes, right there. Hope you're making lots of money. Yes. So, right now we're taking a look at VIVS right over here. VIVS has a bit of a price spike that went on over here. Alright. And formed a bit of a pennant, kind of consolidated along the VWAP right here. But did have a nice shot upward of 295%. That was a nice move right there. VIVS. VIVS. Alright. Price. Alright. Shot up to 295%. We call this on our private Discord prior to its run. Yes, sir. So that's what we got going on for VIVS right there. VIVS, as of now, though, it needs to break this pennant right here. And let's get some support and resistance lines over here. Let's get some support and resistance lines. Bop, right there. All right, has to also break above the resistance at 257, 301, and the high day at 372. Those are some high, the resistance lines right there. Has a support line at 242, which is where the VWAP is. 222, which is where the support line is. We got all that going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. We got all that going on right there. Yes, sir. Ooh. All right. So, VIVS needs to break the pennant and the resistance line at 257. Needs to hold above the VWAP at $2.42 right there for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright, needs to hold above that for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alright, so that's VIVS. VIVS. Let's take a look at another stock right there. Let's take a look at VEEE. VEEE. Now, this stock has been moving around quite a bit as of late. It has been moving around quite a bit as of late. It is currently on a bit of an uptrend, a little bit of a choppy uptrend here and there, but an uptrend nonetheless. It is currently moving its way on up. Boom, right there. All right, needs some support and resistance lines right over here. Boom, okay. So we got, all right, we got support at 47.52 and then 51.56 right there. All right, so that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. VEE needs volume to remain friends with the trend currently up 22%. Needs to break above resistance line at 47.52. Expensive. All right, so that's VEE. That's what's got going on right there. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. Let me just fix something up here real quick. Hold on. All right. All right. All right. 1 second. All right. All right. 1 sec. Hold on. 1 second right here. Just got to fix something on the YouTube. Just got to fix something on the YouTube real quick. 1 sec. Right there. All right. All right. Good. Hold on 1 sec. There we are. Beautiful. All right. All right. There we are. I had to fix that real quick. There we go. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, yep, just getting everything all shit up and ready to go. I'm getting the announcements out over here, but yes, VEE has been moving up quite a bit these past couple of days. It has been moving up these past couple of days. Casey Boyle says, just got here. What I miss on ERNA and VIVS? Still in play or no? I mean, that I can't really give advice as far as that goes, but what I can say is that VIVS did have a nice 295% run before pulling back a little bit. VIVS, as of now, looks to be pulling back. It looks to be pulling back down, so it could potentially be a descending wedge right here. Could potentially be forming a descending wedge, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens there. Hold on 1 second. All right, but yes, it seems to be pulling back down for VIVS. Needs to break above that descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Can it also curl above that 236 mark? Has to break above 187. Has to break above 222. Then the VWAP at 236, 257, 301, and then finally 372, which is a high a day, for it to be somewhat schmexy to nya. And even then, we're going to have to see what happens there. We'll have to see what happens with that stonk right there. All right. Hold on 1 second. There we go. There we go. There we go. So as of now, VIVS does have good news. It has news that they are trading higher after receiving a $5 million milestone payment from Eli Lilly. And the company announced that it anticipates a 500% revenue growth in fiscal year 2027. So they got that going on right there. All right. And that's good news. But you know, it already had a nice run. Already, so we'll see what happens there. And it's a matter of what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? Right there. That's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. All right. Hold on. Just getting the announcements out right here. All right, but yeah, VIVS as of now, VIVS needs volume to break the VWAP, actually to break the resistance line at 187 and break the descending wedge. Needs to break that descending wedge and that resistance at 187, as well as the 222 resistance, then the VWAP at 236, then 257, 301, and then finally 372 for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. But as of now, not looking too schmexy on VIVS right now. We'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at ERNA. ERNA, Ernexa Therapeutics Inc. All right. Had a nice movement upward. Little movement upward right there. There we go. Boom. Right there. Bop. All right. And it formed a bit of a pennant right over here. Right over here. Needs to break above this pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. All right. Needs to break there. Boom. Let's get some support and resistance lines. Boom. Right there. Right there. Right there. Okay. So, currently, as of now, it is above the $9.44 line. Needs to break above 10.29, 10.43, which is where the VWAP is. Then 11.34, and then finally 13.04 for it to be schmexy to me. Has to break above this pennant as well. Has to break above the pennant. That is ERNA. ERNA needs to break the VWAP. Actually, excuse me. Needs to break the resistance first before the VWAP at 10.29 for it to be schmexy to mia. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. And the pennant has to break that area right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. There we go. There we go. Alright, so that's what we got going on for VIVS and ERNA as of now. They're both pulling back a little bit. ERNA looks like it's trying to curl its way back up a little bit, but needs to break above that pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, whereas VIVS is in a bit of a descending wedge as of now, needs to break that descending wedge and curl its way on up and break past the VWAP for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. All right, it has to do that right there. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got over here? KUST. KUST. Hold on one second. KUST. All right. Joab says, what's good, Banger Nation? What's good, Joab? Nick says, good morning, Doubles. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Joab says, morning, Marty and Casey. Marty says, good morning, Joab and Casey. He says, hope all Banger Nation's making a lot of money today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Marty. You know me. You know me. Uh-huh. You know how I do. KUST, by the way, on a bit of a downtrend here. On a bit of a downtrend. Hold on just a second. Just spreading the word of the stream here real quick. Just getting the announcements all set up here. But what do you guys think about VIVS, though? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. What do you guys think of that stock right there? All right. Also, how was you guys' day yesterday? Hope you guys made lots of money yesterday. Hope you guys made lots of money. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second right here. All right. Just getting everything all set up. Boom. All right. Just getting all these announcements out over here. Yes, sir. All right. Let's get a share party going, by the way. Let's get to 200. 200, 200, 200, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to 200. All right. All right. Let's see here. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. There we go. Yes. All right. All right. Wonderful. All right. There we are. There we are. But yes, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. KUST needs to break the downtrend as of now and needs to break above the VWAP at 172. KUST needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP at 172 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. There we go. All right. As of now, VIVS not looking too schmexy to me anymore. Had its time in the sun, as far as I'm concerned, but nowadays it's like, And when I say nowadays, I mean like, earlier was good. Now it's like, not interesting to me. Not interesting anymore. All right, so let's take a look at the next stock right here, ELVA. ELVA. All right, now this stock is a bit choppy in my opinion. ELVA has an unknown float. Volume is 527,000, which is not exactly a lot of volume in my opinion, but we'll see what happens here. Let's get the support and resistance lines over here. Bop, right there. Currently, it is above the VWAP. It is above the 951 support line. Needs to break above the 989 resistance and then 1051 and needs more volume. ELVA needs more volume in my opinion. ELVA needs more volume. Needs to break the resistance line at $9.89 right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. ELVA, ELVA. All right, let's take a look at KUST again. KUST trying to curl off the downtrend slightly, trying to curl off that downtrend. We shall see what happens there. We shall see what happens. Hold on one sec. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. There we are. Okay. All right. Banger Nation on TikTok says good morning, doubles. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, there we are. So KUST, as of now, trying to curl up off the downtrend over there. Trying to curl up off the downtrend. Not looking too schmexy to me. Not looking too schmexy to me. So let's take a look over here with KUST. KUST needs to break the downtrend and the... All right, actually broke the downtrend, excuse me, broke the downtrend and is curling slightly. Needs to break the VWAPA at 172 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's KUST right there. KUST not looking schmexy to me. Alright, let's take a look there. SOBR. As of now with SOBR. Alright, formed a bit of a pennant right over here. Alright. And then curled up off that pennant right there. Broke the VWAP right there. Broke the VWAP and curled off the pennant right there. Alright, let's get some support and resistance lines for it. 1 second. Boom. And boom. Broke the VWAP right there. Needs to break the resistance line at $1.66. That's SOBR. SOBR. Curling off the pennant and broke the VWAP. Needs to break the resistance line at $1.66 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's what we got going on for SOBR. SOBR up 42%. Up 42%. Has the 3 million float, 18 million volume right there. So we got that going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's see what else is going on here. What else is going on? All right, let me see here. All right. All right, all right, all right. So that's SOBR right there. SOBR. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. All right. All right, all right, all right. Let's take a look at KEEL. Someone requested KEEL. Let's take a look at KEEL, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at it. Very, very choppy as of now. Not looking schmexy. Take a look over here. KEEL. Circling the chop areas over here. More chop over here. Got some chop here. Lots of chop here. And more chop here. Not looking too schmexy as of now. Doesn't look like it has a lot of volume right now. A lot of indecisive wicks, a lot of choppy price action. Not looking too schmexy to me. KEEL, very low float, very low volume, needs volume to break the choppy price action and the indecisive wicks right there. Needs to break those for it to be, it needs a miracle to really be schmexy to me. So we'll see what happens there. That's KEEL, KEEL. All right. There we go. There we go. ONDS, ONDS. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at PYPG first. PYPG, PYPG. As of now, PYPG had an awkward head and shoulders pattern going on there. If you look, a little bit of a shoulder here, head here, and then a bit of some shoulder over here. It kind of started to just move down a little bit over here. And then it like curled up slightly, but it kind of stayed above the VWAP, which is good. But at the same time, yeah, it needs volume. It's very, very choppy right now. PYPG has an unknown float, 821,000 volume right there, up 39% right now, up 39%. PYPG. PYPG needs more volume, curling up above the VWAPA. Let's get some support and resistance lines right over here. Hold on. All right. All right. Has to break above the high of day at $8.80. Needs to break the high of day at $8.80 for it to be so much mexy to me. There we go. There we go. All right. ONDS. ONDS. Ondas Inc. up 1%. That is something that someone requested of us right here. ONDS. Very choppy. Take a look. Take a look at this. ONDS. Chop over here. Chop over there. Not schmexy over there. Bobo Beebs. Howdy, Bobo. He says, here in Lima Charlie. Copy that, Bobo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. It did go up a little bit over here, but honestly, it's so low volume. I personally am not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. That's just me. All right. ONDS. ONDS. Very choppy price action and very low volume. It's up, but it's up on low volume, and it's only up 1%. I can tell just by looking at it. Heavy float, heavy floated stock, heavy floated stock. Not schmexy to me. Not schmexy to me. But how you doing, Bobo? How you doing? Good morning, and hope you're having a beautiful day. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, all right, all right, ladies and gentlemen. And let's get a share party going, ladies and gents. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600, 600, 600, 600. All right. All right, all right, all right, all right. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. All right. VIVS. VIVS. That is currently not looking schmexy anymore. It's not looking schmexy anymore, but it did have its time in the sun. Alright, let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600. 600, 600, 600. There we go. There we go. And by the way, PPI did decline 0.3% monthly, rose 5.5% annually, while core PPI actually increased 0.2% monthly and 4.7% annually. And this actually confirms a cooling trend, largely driven by a 12% drop in gasoline prices and a 0.6% decline in final demand goods right there. So we got that going on right there. Yes, sir. PPI came out today. PPI did come out today. So we'll see what goes on, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what goes on. But let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600. 600, 600, 600. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. All right, all right, all right. There we are. Yes. Joab says good morning to Bobo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Let's see here. KAPA just came in. KAPA. Let me take a look at KAPA. Had to take a look at the Twitter, make sure everything was working properly. But, yes. KAPA. KAPA. On the uptrend over here. Bop right there. But it is one of those things where it was very, very choppier. It was very choppier. Yes, yes, very choppier. I can totally speak English, guys. I'm kidding. All right, but it did pull back a little bit, climbed back up slightly over here. Has a 15 million float, 3 million volume. It is moving up on some low volume right there. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. KAPA, KAPA heavy float. And moving up on low volume right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. There we go. How's VIVS looking? VIVS, still not looking too schmexy to me. Not looking too schmexy to me, but it looks like it's trying to maybe do something, but it really needs to break above 187. VIVS really needs to break above that descending wedge. Needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be so much schmexy to me. There we go. Has to break above 187. Needs to break the resistance line at 187. That is the first line that it needs to break for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. In the meantime, let's take a look at ERNA. ERNA. All right, ERNA still needs to break above 1029. Still needs to break 1029 right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Has to break 1029. ERNA. ERNA needs to break the pennant and the resistance line at 1029 for it to be so much schmexy to me. Yes. Bo VIVS is choppier. What would be choppity? Well, choppier. What would be choppity? Choppity. Yes, choppity is when it is choppier than choppier. I guess. Although I like to just call it Chop City. You know what I mean? Like Chop City? Yeah. If it's choppy, it's choppy. If it's choppy as heck, I was going to say the other word, but then I'm like, no, don't say that word. All right. If it's choppy as heck, it is choppity. Choppity da dee do do dee da dee do. All right. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So far, that's what we got going on right there. Right now, we're keeping an eye on the market. PPI just came out, so everybody's a little bit, little bit uptight. Little bit uptight. It came out cooled off, so that's good. But it needs people are a little bit a little bit they're holding on to the money. They're clutching the money right now. They're clutching the money right now. The PPI and the that tends to make people a little bit money grabby. Primarily, just clutching their wallets for dear life. Yeah, so they're going to be doing that for a little bit. They're going to be doing that for a little bit. Yeah, but it did turn out to be good, so that's pretty good. It went pretty well, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see. We shall see. Yes. All right. In the meantime, though, while that's being done, somebody requested SLS. SLS. Alright. I mean, I could take a look at SLS. Why not? Oh, okie dokie. Alrighty then. Not schmexy. That is a very big understatement. It is trash. Trash. Yes, sir. It is the booty. Alright, it is choppy. And did I mention choppy? Pretty sure I mentioned choppy. Yes. This is the butt. It is butt. Pure butt. Unadulterated butt. Yes. Butt of the moose variety. Moose's butt. Not good. Not good. Not good. SLS. 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 Very chop city. I'm gonna just put chop city. You know what? It is choppity. It is choppity, Bobo. Chop city right there. But also choppity. Needs a miracle. I mean, needs volume to break the indecisive wicks and choppy price action. Not schmexy at all. That's SLS. It is Garbaggio. Garbaggio, yes. It is Garbaggio. Yes. Alright. 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 So that's what we got going on for that right there. Let's take a look back at SOBR. SOBR. Someone requested SOBR. So let's take a look back at SOBR right here. It did curl up slightly over here. Curled up slightly. Boom. Alright, and then pulled its way on back. Pulled its way back down right here. Boom. And boom right there. Needs to break the descending wedge and needs to break above $1.58 for it to be schmexy to mya. SOBR needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA at $1.58. Excuse me, not the VWAPA, the resistance line at $1.58 right there. Needs to break that area. Needs to break that area right there. For it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yesh. There we go. So, SOBR as of now needs to break that descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. It did curl above the pennant earlier, broke the VWAP, and then broke a bunch of resistance lines before forming a bit of a descending wedge. Needs to curl its way on up. And yeah, needs to do that right there. Needs to do that right there. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. Let's see what else we got here, ladies and gentlemen. What else we got? What else we got? Let me at them. Let me at them. All right. All right, all right, all right. I'm going to keep an eye on ERNA real quick. Let me take a look at ERNA. ERNA, ERNA, looks to be pulling backward a little bit. Looks to be pulling back. Still needs to stay above that pennant, but needs to also stay above $9.44. Needs to break back above that for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Tony, why not ask for ELVA? We'll definitely take a look at that. Give me just 1 second, and we will get on that. Yes, sir. ERNA, 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 and Carlos asked for WULF, and then after that, Casey also asked for ELVA. So we'll take a look at ELVA, then we'll take a look at Wolf. Yes. All right. So let me just put this up over here. ERNA needs volume to break the pennant and the resistance line at $9.44, and it also needs to break that VWAP at 1032, but it needs to break the resistance line right there. We'll take a look at ELVA. ELVA as of now, nice looking schmexy so far right now. There we go. There we go. It was a little bit choppy. It was a little bit choppy earlier. It was a bit choppy earlier. Like, it was just above the view up there. That was good. All right, and now it's currently on its way upward over here. Made a nice uptrend right here. All right, has a nice high a day at 1162. Needs to break 1162 for it to continue to be schmexy to me. That's ELVA right there. ELVA on the uptrend currently as of now. It is above the VWAP, and it is a bit overbought on the RSI, but hey, it do be like that sometimes. All right. Keeping an eye on this right here. I'm keeping an eye on these right here. Just got to make sure that it doesn't, that it remains friends with that trend right there. ELVA has an unknown float, 2 million volume right there. So the volume has increased, but the float is still currently unknown. Needs to break above 1162, which is the high a day, for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. ELVA on the uptrend needs to remain friends with the trend and break the high of day at 1162 for it to be somewhat schmexy to mia. There we go, there we go. All right. So that's ELVA right there. Carlos requested WULF. Wolf. Let's take a look. All right. So let's take a look over here. All right. So this is very, very choppy. Very, very choppy. Take a look over here. Take a look. Watch me now. All right. Chop over here. Indecisive wicks here. Indecisive wicks here. 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 And there's a little one right over here. All right. Now, the thing about this is that it is also, I'm going to take a look at the float and volume for this, but as of now, if it has indecisive wicks like this, it tends to be a low volume stock right there. So I'm going to take a look at WULF. WULF, let's see what we got going on here. Yep, float is extremely heavy, 420 million. Volume is 171,000. Okay, so extremely heavy float, very low volume, not entirely schmexy to me as of now. Not entirely schmexy to me. Not schmexy to me. It is moving its way on up slightly, but it's doing it on low volume, so I don't entirely trust it. It's, again, a very heavy floated stock, very light on the volume, so not schmexy to me. Hopefully it moves its way on up. You know, I hope so, but as for me, I don't entirely trust it. All right, I will give it some support and resistance lines right over here. I will, but as of now, really needs to break above 979 right there, and yeah, it needs a lot of volume. All right, it's moving on very low volume right now. So WULF moving on very low volume, heavy float, needs to break the pennant and the high of day at 1979 with a lot of volume. It needs a lot of volume. All right. For it to be somewhat schmexy to me. That's WULF. WULF. Very, very, very choppy. All right. Hold on one second. Ooh. Had to get that stretch in, ladies and gentlemen. Had to get that stretch in. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, by the way, be sure to check out our merch store. Link to join is in the description down below. Link to get that is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section. So be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out. We got all sorts of cool merch, ranging from shirts to hoodies to lids to all sorts of other cool stuff. Like, for example, cup and handles right there. The cup and handles. When I say cup and handles, I mean mugs. Right? We got mugs. We got tumblers, we got stickers, we got mouse pads, we got all sorts of cool stuff there, and we're gonna get more designs coming at you guys soon. Right? But as of now, we got a lot of Stewie Stickman merch right there. Some of Beeb's Buckaroo is there as well, and a bunch of other stuff too. So we got that going on right there. And of course, coming soon is going to be Goldie Brickstorm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. The link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comments section, so be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot's the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And that 4-day trial comes with so much cool stuff. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, comes with so much cool stuff right there. So be sure to check it out. Be sure to check it out. All right. Hold on one second. There we are. All right. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 3-month package as well. That's charged at a discounted rate of $66.67 per month. Charged quarterly, ladies and gentlemen. Charged quarterly. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Alright. So yeah, we got that going on. Alright, again, $66.67 charged quarterly. It's actually cheaper than, alright, it's $66.67 per month charged quarterly right there. So yeah, we got that going on right there. Much cheaper than the regular price right there, and it's only around for a limited time, so be sure to get it while supplies last, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to get it while supplies last. ELVA, how's it doing right there? ELVA is on the uptrend still, up 72% as of now, up 72%. There we go. ELVA up 72%. There we go. All right. ELVA up 72%. Still shooting up like a rocket. Needs to break the $13.50 mark, high a day, for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright, that's ELVA. Looking good, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. All right, let's get a share party going, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1100. 1100, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Let's get to 1100. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all right, all right. All right, there we are. Okay. ELVA up 77%. Needs to break $13.50, which is the high of day for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what they got going on right there. Let's take a look at AEHR. This one is a heavy float, low volume stock right there. I don't trust it much. We'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it though. AEHR test system shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued fiscal year 2027 sales guidance above estimates. So they got that going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is what they got going on. However, that being said, right, this is number one, very expensive AEHR. AEHR, expensive stock, heavy float, low volume, needs to stay above the VWAP at 94.93 for it to be somewhat schmexy. Well, it's not going to be schmexy to me because it's extremely expensive, but yeah, there you go right there. There you go, there you go, there you go. Yes, sir. All right, ELVA, ELVA, what's going on with ELVA right there? ELVA just had another little price spike going on right there. ELVA still climbing and hit a new high of day. Needs to break the new high of day at $14.76 for it to be schmexy to mya. All right. Let's take a look at ERNA. ERNA, as of now, pulling its way on back still, forming a bit of a descending wedge. If anything, needs to break that descending wedge and needs to break above $9.44. That is the resistance line right there. ERNA needs to break the descending wedge and the resistance line at $9.44 for it to be schmexy to mya. All right. KUST, KUST. All right. A slight uptrend right there. Slight uptrend up there, right there. That's what we got going on. KUST still needs to break above $1.72, which is where the VWAP is, for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Somewhat schmexy to mya. But it does have a 627,000 float, 59 million volume right there. Not looking schmexy in that regard just yet. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. KUST trying to curl, but needs to break the consolidation and the VWAPA at $1.72 for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Jamie asks for ZBAO. ZBAO. Let's take a look at ZBAO. Down 11% as of now. This is a China stock, ZBAO Technology Inc. All right, this does have some very choppy price action in it. All right, observe. All right, there is chop over there, went down, started to go up, then consolidated quite a bit over here. All right, and showed some choppiness there. All right, a lot of choppiness over here, chop over here, indecisive wicks here, And yeah, it looks very, very choppy as of now. Very, very choppy. Has a float of 11.6 million. Volume is 650,000 right there. So it is extremely. It's got a heavy float, light volume going on right there. So ZBAO, choppy, well, heavy float, and light volume right there. Needs to break the VWAP at 27 cents. Very choppy price action and indecisive wicks. So not looking too schmexy with Z-Bow as of now. Not looking too schmexy to me. It is down 11%. Not looking too schmexy to Mya. All right. Let's take a look at KUST. How's KUST holding up? KUST. Still the same thing going on before. Hold on. I had to get the stretch there. Ooh. All right. So. Let's see here. What else we got? PYPG. Let's take a look at PYPG. How's PYPG looking? Unknown float, 971,000 volume. Rather consolidated along the VWAP as of now. PYPG kind of consolidating along the VWAP. Consolidating along the VWAPA right there. Needs volume. Needs volume. All right, let's see what we got going on there. What are the stonks we got going on here, ladies and gentlemen? What are the stonks we got going on? Let's take a look. Let's take a look, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, alright, alright. Alright, someone requested SOBR. SOBR. Alright. Looks like it tried to curl up a little bit off that descending wedge, but kind of consolidated. Alright. Needs to really break that 166 mark right there. SOBR. SOBR. Curled slightly off the descending wedge. Consolidated just below the $1.66 resistance line. Needs more volume for it to be schmexy to Mya. SOBR, SOBR. Alright, Jamie asked for RGNT. Let's take a look at RGNT. Alright, RGNT as of now, Israeli stock down 0.79% as of now. Has unconfirmed Q3 earnings due in 13 days from now on July 28th after the market close. But as of now, the stock is currently very, very, very choppy. Very, very choppy. You take a look at the indecisive wicks here. Alright, indecisive wicks and choppy price action here. More indecisive wicks here. Shot up and then dropped back down almost immediately and fell below the VWAP right there. So RGNT, RGNT. Extremely choppy price action and indecisive wicks right there. Needs volume to break the needs to break the VWAP right there. VWAP at $2.64 and needs to really break that downtrend because it's not looking too schmexy to me. RGNT, RGNT as of now, not looking schmexy right there. All right.
Let's get some likes in there.
Yes, sir. Let's get some likes.
Some likes and some shares.
Mm-hmm.
Some likes and some shares there, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeesh. All right. So, as of now, that's RGNT. Let's get a share party going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a share party going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What'd you guys get to do yesterday? How was your Taco Tuesday yesterday? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Me, I got to have a good Taco Tuesday yesterday. Coach and I actually found a wonderful fish place that sold fish and chips, but also sold fish tacos, among other things, right? Now, the fish tacos were actually surprising. They had a very interesting sauce, right? So instead of like your classical taco with like salsa and all that other good stuff, this one had something more appropriate for fish and chips, but made it into like a taco-y salsa type of deal, right? It wasn't salsa, but it was pretty good. It was basically a coleslaw, right, mixed with a tartar sauce type of touch to it, right? And then they put their own special spices like mixed into it to kind of give it a bit of a kick, but nothing crazy. And yeah, I ended up having some good fish tacos yesterday with the Coachmeister General, as well as the family. Yes, it was delicious. It was good. They seasoned the fries amazingly. We found a new spot, ladies and gentlemen. It was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not gonna lie. It was schmexiness. It was indeed schmexiness right there. So yeah, that's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. Hold on one second. Let me get some water in me. Let me get some water real quick. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's take a look at KUST again. KUST. Still trying to curl. Looks like it's formed a bit of a resistance line though. Little bit of a resistance right over here at 152. Needs to break 152 right there to get to the VWAP right there. KUST formed a small resistance at $1.52. Alright. Needs to break the VWAP at 172 for it to be schmexy to mya. That's KUST, ERNA, ERNA. ERNA as of now is trying to curl up off the pennant slightly. We'll see what happens there. ERNA trying to curl up and break the VWAP at $10.21 for it to be schmexy to mya. PYPG as well. Let's see another stock right there. PYPG needs to break the downtrend right here. Has a bit of a downtrend forming right over there. Needs to break the downtrend. Needs to break the VWAP at $8.38. PYPG needs to break the downtrend and the VWAP at $8.38, $8.38, for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Alright, VTAK, as of now consolidated. Lots of consolidation right there. Needs to break the VWAP at 80 cents. VTAK consolidated below the VWAP. Consolidated below the VWAP. Needs volume to break the consolidation and resistance at 73 cents. Needs to break the VWAP at 80 cents for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. SOBR, SOBR. All right. So, as of now, SOBR kind of curled a little bit, slightly. All right. And formed a bit of a pennant off the descending wedge right there. SOBR. Slight curl off the descending wedge and formed a pennant right there. Needs to break the resistance at 166 for it to remain schmexy to mya. That's SOBR, SOBR. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get a share party going on over here. Let's get to 1800. 1800, 1800, 1800. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. Let's get that share party going on. Let's get to a nice 1800. 1800. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. So that's what we got going on right there, ladies and gentlemen. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the Banger Nation. That's what we're doing right now. We're keeping an eye on these stocks right here. We're keeping an eye on the stocks right here. We shall see what happens. We shall see what happens. It is currently 9:28 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Got 2 minutes till the bell. The bell! It deafens me. But yeah. As of now, we're currently just keeping an eye on these stocks. But what have you guys been up to, ladies and gentlemen? Talk to me. What you guys been up to? Put it in the chat. You got any stocks you want us to take a look at? Put it in the chat. And if you got any little stories you want to tell us about how your day went, how's your Taco Tuesday, all that good stuff, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. As of now, by the way, SOBR has a bit, well, had a bit of a heavy, was a bit overbought in the RSI. Was at one point overbought in the RSI, has since mellowed out, and is currently not overbought or oversold in the RSI, so we're good there. Yes, sir. Casey Boyle asked for TGHL. TGHL. Let's take a look at TGHL, ladies and gentlemen. TGHL. All right. TGHL, as of now, is a Singaporean stock at the Grow Hub Limited Class A ordinary shares, up 27% with unconfirmed Q1 earnings due in 13 days from now on July 28th before the market open. So we got that going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Hold on. Also, ladies and gentlemen, got a bit of a pennant going on right there. Got a bit of a pennant going on right there. Actually, no, not a pennant. Just a downtrend, really. It is consolidated just below the downtrend there, but it needs to break the downtrend. It needs to break above the 109 resistance line right there. Excuse me. At VWAP, the 109 VWAP right there, for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. So TGHL, 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 as of now, up 30%. Needs volume to break the consolidation and the downtrend needs to break the VWAP at $1.09 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Alright, that's TGHL, TGHL. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is now past 9:30. 9:30 bell is rung. It's made the ringy dingy. It made the wee woo. Yes, sir. Alright, so right now we're just chilling. Right now we're just keeping an eye out on the stonks right here. How's VIVS holding up? Let's see. Meh. VIVS, not looking too schmexy to me. VIVS right there. Alright. Consolidated. Actually, no. Trying to curl its way on up slightly. Needs to break 184. Trying to curl up slightly. Still needs to break the resistance line at $1.84 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. Alright. Okay. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeesh. Let's take a look over here. Let's take a look at SOBR. SOBR. Keeping an eye on SOBR right here. Hold on. SOBR just curled its way on up right now off the pennant right there. Off the pennant. SOBR just curled its way on up. There we go. SOBR curled its way on up, broke through two different resistance lines, and now needs to break the high of day at $1.95. Alright, SOBR curled past the resistance lines and shot upwards. Needs to break the high of day at 195 for it to be so much schmexy to me. There we go. Let's take a look at ERNA, ERNA, and then we'll take a look at SHPH. ERNA, ERNA looks like it is curling its way on up slightly right now, as it tries to curl towards the VWAP right there. Tries to curl towards the VWAP. We'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens. We shall see. Alright. So, as of now, ERNA, ERNA, curling upwards. Needs to break the VWAP at 10.09 for it to be schmexy to mya. Alright. Now let's take a look at SHPH. SHPH. Down 5% as of now. Down 5%. Not looking too schmexy. It was moving yesterday, but as of today, not so much. It is choppy. Now it's choppy. A lot of instances of choppy price action going on here. So, as of now, not schmexy to mya. Alright. Alright. Needs to break this pennant right here for it to be schmexy to mya. SHPH needs to break the pennant. SHPH needs to break the pennant and needs more volume for it to be schmexy to meow. It is above the VWAP, but alright, let's get some support and resistance lines over here. Boom. And boom. Has to break above the 394 mark. Needs to break resistance at $3.94. Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty much it for me. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded, ladies and gentlemen. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And, of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out. We pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir, yes, sir. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming, stock reviews, stock analysis, all sorts of long-form videos, short-form videos, live streams, all that good stuff, entertaining videos, videos that are funny in nature, videos that are informative in nature, videos that are motivational in nature, etc., etc., etc. right there. All right, so be sure to check that out. Be sure to check out our X.com, a.k.a. Twitter, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of live streaming, stock reviews, and stock analysis there as well. You can find us on our Twitch, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming, so be sure to check that out. Find us on Facebook, at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of live streaming, stock reviews, and stock analysis. Check out our TikTok, Tiki-Taki, a.k.a. the Tac-Tac. The Tac-Tac, yes. The Tac-Tac at DBL Nicks. At DBL Nicks, and the screen name is Coach Nick Money. Money. Right, so you got that going on right there. That is what you got going on. Alright, so we have that. Yeah, so be sure to check that out. We do lots of shorts there. We do lots of live streaming there. We do all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, be sure to check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check it out on our TikTok there. And of course, be sure to check out our Instagram and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do all sorts of stock reviews and stock analysis there as well. So be sure to check it out. Alright, so that's pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out our 1:30 p.m. show, Power Play, hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market prior to the Power Hour. And what he likes to do is he likes to go through the stock market, give his honest review and analysis prior to Power Hour. And then what he likes to do is, after he gives his honest review and analysis, he likes to let the stock simmer on high heat for a little bit with a little bit of paprika, a little bit of cumin, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of sazon, stuff like that right there. A lot of different stuff going on right there. So, yeah, be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check that out and show it some love. Show it some love right there. All right. Quick thing before we wrap up. If you guys have been watching and you're serious about small caps, don't just sit on the outside trying to piece it together. We've got a 4 full-day access pass for only $9.99, as well as a 3-month pass at a discounted rate of $66.67 per month, charged quarterly. So we got that going on right there, and it's full access. So you come inside, you get to see how we actually operate live. You get to see how we structure trade ideas, how we map levels, how we think about risk, how we handle momentum. You get access to our next day early watch list, as well as the 24/7 market news flow, which is being shown on the right-hand side of the screen right over here. If you take a look, it has the hyperlinks to the actual news. It has a synopsis of what's going on within said news, right, as well as hyperlinks to the tickers that are affiliated with the news for said stock right there. So be sure to check that out. You got all sorts of hyperlinks with all sorts of informative, wonderful information, all at the touch of a button at your fingertips, ladies and gentlemen. That is all on our wonderful private Discord. Also, you get access to our pre-market, regular hours, and after-hours scanners with float volume, and catalyst context fill right in. To be more specific, you get ticker, price, volume, float, change in percentage, whether the stock is moving up or down, hyperlinks to the stock, as well as the time at which it was scanned, all of which is just information you could, at the touch of a button, that you could learn about stickers right there and do your own due diligence before purchasing anything in the stock market at all whatsoever, because, we're not stock or financial advisors, but we do have a wonderful scanner, which also has all sorts of information on it right there. At the touch of a button, all you got to do, bada bing, bada boom, you learn about the stock that you're interested in, boom, that's it. All right, and you also get access to our ticker tape built to catch stocks when they're starting to heat up, but before they go parabolic, complete with hyperlinks as well. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we don't do noise, we do structure. And if that's how you want to approach this market, grab the 4-day pass or the 3-month pass and come see it live. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, so be sure to check that out. And when you come in, let us know you saw us on the stream. We'd love to hear from you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much it from me. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And peace out. I'll see you guys at 1:30 p.m.